We are asked to write the standard equation of a circle here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get our form out. The standard equation of a circle is x minus h, quantity squared, plus y minus k, quantity squared, equals our radius squared. So let's go ahead and apply this, what they give us here, and convert it into the standard equation form. So there's two things that you need here, the center and the radius. So we can see our center is right here. The center is x is 5, y is 0. And the radius looks like I don't see it touching any of the, it looks like they're saying it's landing on that point right there. So notice it doesn't look like, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So notice it does not hit exactly on the grid, which was what was worrying me. And it looks like they're giving us a point on the circle at -1, 9. Okay, so we'll go ahead and use the distance formula. The distance formula to find out the radius, and then we can go from there. All right, so the distance, let's go ahead and zoom back out, is equal to, the distance formula is the square root of the change in y, y2 minus y1, quantity squared, plus the change in x, x2 minus x1, quantity squared. Make sure all of this is under the square root sign. Okay, and we'll just go ahead and calculate what this is. So this point right here, so we got the distance from 5, 0 to the point x is 9, y is -1. It's always good to label to cut down on mistakes. I'll call this my first point. I'll call this my second point. Plugging our values in. I'll do it over here to kind of save us some room. Delta distance is equal to the square root, trying to jump into the calculus. Y2 is 9 minus y1. Y1 is 0. Quantity squared. Plus x2 is 9. Y, so, oops. Careful. Sorry about that. Otra vez. Let's do it again. All right, so y2. Usually I never make a mistake on this one. So y2 is -1 minus y1 is 0. Going a little too fast probably. Plus x2 is 9. And that's what confused me, is I got a 9 there and a 9 there. Minus x1. X1 is 5. And like I said, be careful. Just make sure it goes all under the square root. We want to keep enforcing that. A lot of times students lose out on how far the square root sign goes. So distance is equal to the square root. I'll just go ahead and simplify. Take my time on this. -1 quantity squared plus 9 minus 5 is 4. Quantity squared. I don't need the parenthesis because this is positive. I have to have the parenthesis here because it's negative. If you don't have a parenthesis around something squared, then it, as a negative, it means something different. So be careful about that. All right, so this all turns into -1 squared is 1 plus 16, and we got the square root of 17. 17 is our distance. And remember, this distance, it was actually calculating the radius for us. So the radius was the square root of 17. All right, we now have everything we need. Go ahead and get this out of the way. Okay. All right, so plugging it into this circle equation. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm not going to try to cut any corners on this, just plug it right in as you see it. So, and that's the good thing about going from graph to equation, is it's exactly what you see. So the circle equation is x minus, what's the center here. Let me go ahead and write that again. That's the center, 5, 0. So the x portion is 5. So x minus 5 quantity squared plus y minus 0 quantity squared equals, and here's what I was saying, you just plug it right in. No need to kind of do any fancy steps. Radius is square root of 17, square root of 17. And then it's the radius squared is our formula. So all that gets squared. Okay. If this were a negative number, then I would say negative, negative, and make it a positive when I simplify. So it's just kind of nice to simplify this when we're writing it out. Usually, you don't have to have the squares or the negative negatives floating around. So you want to simplify basically. So this now becomes x minus 5 quantity squared plus, you don't need the minus 0 here. So you're just doing basic simplifying. You have to have it squared here. You have to have it squared here. And then you usually don't have it squared here. So that would just be the 17. All right. And then there's our equation. There it is. Where do we put our answer? And hard on me. Okay. Or I make it hard on myself. Either way. So parenthesis x minus 5 in parenthesis quantity squared plus y quantity squared equals 17. Let me just confirm I typed in everything. Don't want to do all the work and then type in something wrong. Everything looks like it should. Okay, got it. So the next one, any different? A little bit different. Okay, let's go ahead and clear our board. All right, once again, we're writing standard equation of a circle. Always get the foundation out or skeleton. So it's going to be x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared equals radius squared. All right. The circle has a radius of 5/3 and is centered at 9.2, negative 7.4. All right. They're given everything we need. Radius. There's my r. And there's my h. And there's my k. And there's that negative that I was kind of telling you about. So let's see how that plays out. Okay. So we'll have x minus the 9.2, that's my h, quantity squared, plus y minus the negative 7.4, quantity squared. So you can put another set of parentheses on there, but negative, negative, it's very clear, equals, our radius is clearly 5/3, whatever that is. All of that gets squared. The whole thing gets squared. Careful. If you don't have parentheses, it would just be applied to the top again. So here we go. Simplifying it one last time so it fits the form that they want. Usually, I'm not sure if this would be an answer, but I'm not going to take any chances. And plus negative and a negative. There's our positive. 7.4 quantity squared equals... And then usually we'll square this out. So that would be 25. Everything gets squared over 9. All right. Let's see. All right. That looks good. Yep. So x minus 9.2 in parentheses quantity squared plus y. Let's not forget our parentheses. Plus 7.4 in parentheses quantity squared equals 25 divided by 9. We'll check our answer before I hit enter. Make sure I'm not missing any squareds or anything. And it looks good. All right. Good luck on these. I don't think the next one's going to be any different. Yes, it's the same as that last one, or the the first one I showed you on this video.